I was working on complex, high stakes projects involving multiple teams across continent, mainly New York, Los Angeles, and London. From the outside, it looked like a dream, I would say, like working with iconic brands, crafting large scale strategies. But inside, I felt very like unfulfilled. Definitely. I realized I was building something that didn't really reflect my own value and purpose. I was creating, success, but not alignment.
Welcome to At What Point, the podcast where we dive into the real, raw, and rewarding journey of personal and professional growth. I'm Catherine, your host, here to guide you through mindset shifts, powerful aha moments, and the resilience it takes to thrive no matter what life throws your way. Whether you're climbing the corporate ladder, taking the leap into entrepreneurship, or just looking for that boost of motivation, you are in the right place. Let's dive in. Lisa Raymonde is a respectful business and transition strategist known for helping professionals and entrepreneurs make impactful career and business shifts with clarity and confidence. Since launching her entrepreneur journey in 2019, Lisa has brought a fresh strategic perspective to those facing pivotal transitions, guiding them towards clarity, resilience, and financial independence. Her career began in retail and merchandising in France, where she developed a strong foundation in understanding market dynamics and consumer behavior. Eager for new challenges, Lisa transitioned from product strategy to leading comprehensive business strategies at Universal Music Group. This combination of hands-on corporate experience and strategic insights allows her to help clients navigate change with both precision and creativity. Lisa's personal journey mirrors her professional philosophy. She has moved over 20 times, worked as a digital nomad across 10 countries, from Bangkok to Dakar to New York, and spent 15 years as a solo traveler, embracing each experience with enthusiasm and adaptability. Friends and colleagues, including myself, often praise her warmth, versatility, and ability to turn life's changes into growth opportunities. These qualities inspire her to create the Momentum Co., a business rooted in empowering others to navigate their own transitions confidently and effectively, a proven strategy that transformed countless women's lives. Today, Lisa combines her expertise, empathy, and life experience to help clients harness change as a powerful catalyst for lasting success. Her approach is both grounded and empowering, inspiring clients to see change not as an obstacle, but as a path to long-term worth, self-sufficiency, and fulfillment. Thank you for being here, Lisa. I'm so excited that you are one of my guests at What Point.
Yes, I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much.
So let's dive in. And like I mentioned before, reading your bio, even though that we have connected in the past, I get the opportunity to kind of dive in into your world. So let's just start from there. I know that your background has been so extensive in many industries and many countries. Can you take us back to your corporate days and share what inspired you to make such bold moves?
So, yeah, as you mentioned, my career began in retail and merchandising in France and later in the UK, obviously, and I'm still in the UK. So, where I basically developed like a deep passion for understanding consumer behavior. I also found it like, fascinating how well crafted product or campaign could evoke emotion and connection. So, early on, I thrive in an environment that pushed me to think both creatively and strategically. So I actively thought like roles that bridge these skills. So transitioning to Universal Music Group felt like a natural evolution, allowing me to blend the strategy with the creativity, but on a global scale. So these experiences taught me two critical lessons: the power of adaptability, knowing when and how to pivot, and the importance of empathy in leadership, which is very important for me. True success wasn't just about achieving results. It was about understanding and inspiring the people around me, basically. So what inspired me to make bold moves across industries and countries was a deep curiosity and the belief that growth happens outside your comfort zone. So every transition became like a chance to learn, challenge myself, and expand my perspective. So yeah, living and working, about 10 country, yeah. So I mean, when it comes to the corporate side, yeah, it was mostly in France and in the UK, but I had my own ambition. I travel a lot, London, Bangkok. I would say it offered me like a unique lens to view both business and life. And it also reinforced the idea that change, while often uncomfortable, we have to say it, is an
Mhm.
incredible teacher, basically. So, yeah, that mindset, I would say, fueled my willingness to take risks and embrace bold decisions.
I love that. I also love that what you share about corporate. When you are working in a global environment, and we can say, like now, your online business, and for me as an online business owner as well, we work in a global environment. We work with people around the country and around the world. And that's, I believe that make us also unique in having
Right.
that background in corporate as you have working globally, understanding those personalities, how we can deal and how we can help others to move forward. I feel that that is what give you and us in the online space like that advantage, because we're able to really help people achieve those transitions with empathy and leadership, like you mentioned. You have worked in such high profile roles. What was the turning point that made you realize it was time to start your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, I think I should have started before, if I'm honest with you. It's just my personality, I believe so. I believe there was like a moment at Universal Music Group that really stayed with me. So I was working on complex high stakes project involving multiple teams across continent, mainly New York, Los Angeles, and London. And from the outside, it looked like a dream, I would say, like working with iconic brands, crafting large scale strategies. But inside, I felt very like unfulfilled. Definitely. I realized I was building something that didn't really reflect my own value and purpose. I was creating, success, but not alignment. So the decision to leave wasn't easy at all because I left my job in the country the same year. It is what it is. Corporate life offers stability, prestige, and I would say even a clear path forward. But I knew deep down I wanted to make an impact on a more personal level. So that's when the idea for the Momentum Co started forming. So, how could I take everything I had learned from strategy to resilience and use it to empower others, especially women, to navigate transitions in their own lives? That's my main goal, basically. So, yeah, that moment of clarity was terrifying, to be honest with you, but it was also the most liberating decision I've ever made.
Transition is tough. It's not an easy decision. For me, my transition from corporate took a year and a half to finally, when I start to consider my exactly like you're saying. And I'm sure that many people that is listening, if they are in corporate, when you feel like exactly what you're saying, that you are not aligned with your purpose. And so many times it's not that we don't like the corporate world or we don't like the 9 to 5. I'm talking about me. It's just like we feel that there is an empty hole. It's something right there that is missing. And I know that at that point, mindset is important because our mind start to telling us different things. We may start to create different stories and we just validate those stories in order to keep going. But like you say, having that courage to move forward and actually do it is what makes us successful. And I know that you have embraced so many women transition in their life and you help them to achieve their goals. What mindset shifts or strategies help you turn those challenges into opportunities?
So, first, transitions are never easy, even for me, or maybe a little bit less for me. I've been like that since I'm a little girl anyway. So I have a huge background when it comes to that. So you mentioned it earlier, moving over 20 times, working across several countries, living in the UK, being French, all of this. At first, transition felt overwhelming, definitely scary as well, I would say. But each new placement, like starting over, learning new systems, building connections from scratch again. But over time, I realized that the power of reframing, it was really important. That's it. Like, instead of seeing change as something that disrupted my life, I began to see it as a chance to reinvent myself, actually. So, one mindset shift that made a huge difference was focusing on what I could control, actually, which is my attitude and my actions. So I developed strategies to adapt quickly, like building routines, that give me like a sense of stability, especially when you're traveling so much. So no matter where I was, or seeking out, communities that align with my value. And I also learned to let go of imperfection, uh, to let go of perfection and being imperfect, actually. So as I mentioned, each transition doesn't have to be flawless. What matters is that you show up, you learn, and you grow. Really, that perspective, has helped me to turn challenges into opportunities at every stage of my life.
I love that. I love when you talk about attitude and action because fear is part of the process, right? And especially, I feel that when we are transitioning from corporate, we're used to that security blanket. Can be the paycheck, can be benefits, health insurance, retirement,
Definitely.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
So what is the attitude that we're going to take towards that, and what are the action that we're going to take? Also, like you say, leaving that perfectionism, and we don't realize that so many times we would love to be perfect and everything to run smooth, but many times it doesn't. It's challenging. So thank you so much for that message. I think that is something very relatable, and is something that either if you have been through this journey, I'm 100% sure that we all have experienced that. But if you are considering transitioning from the corporate world to the entrepreneur journey, those considerations sometimes make us have that fear, and it's like a scary thought of the what if. What if I don't make it? What if I don't get a client? And then I feel that that's what makes us come back to our comfort zone, to that familiar space of the corporate world, even though that we are not aligned with what we want to do. Let's talk about Momentum Co. The Momentum Co is such an inspiring name. I love it. Can you share it how it started and the impact you have seen it have on your clients?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing about it. So, the Momentum Co was born, out of my own experiences with change. That's definitely my focus, change and transformation. I realized that the hardest part of navigating transition, whether in career, life, business, is getting started. It sounds easy, but it's not. So, momentum is the key, actually. Once you take that very first step, the next one becomes easier. And before you know it, you're moving forward with confidence, right? And you're learning all of this. So, I've had the privilege of working with women who were at crossroads in their lives, whether they were stepping out of corporate roles or just launching businesses or even navigating, personal changes. One client, for example, was a senior executive who felt quite stuck in a role that no longer fulfilled her. So through our work together, she gained a clarity on her goals. She launched her own consultancy and found that, not only the financial success, but renewed sense of purpose. So seeing that transformation is what drives me every day, basically.
I love it. And I love, like I said before, the name, the momentum co, because we know that what it takes is momentum. Taking that decision, right? Like is when you say like, okay, when you put your resignation letter and when you sit down to create your first offer or what are you gonna offer outside, you need that momentum. So I feel that that name is so inspiring and so
Thank
matching
you.
with the purpose that you have to serve others. You have blended your strategic corporate background with such a human centered approach. What is your advice for entrepreneurs who want to create businesses rooted in both expertise and empathy?
So I would say the key to blending like expertise and empathy is remembering that, businesses are built for people. So your expertise gives you credibility, but empathy is what builds trust and connection, actually. My advice is to start by deeply understanding the needs and pain points of the people who you want to serve. So what are they struggling with? Like, how can your unique skills provide a solution, a real solution? So then they don't be afraid to show vulnerability. I believe this is exactly what you must show, actually. Share your own story and challenges as well. It makes you relatable, right? So
Mhm.
expertise and empathy aren't like opposites, they are complementary. So when you combine these two, you create a business that not only solves problems, but also resonates with people on a personal level. So that's where real impact happens.
Thank you. Out of every definition that I hear of empathy from many people, I haven't heard empathy is trust and connections. And that's beautifully said because this is exactly that. And having that empathy for others is what builds that trust. And people can perceive that. People can perceive that through social media. People can perceive that in person. People can perceive that through your posts. I remember the post that I saw you because from your Instagram,
Yeah.
and what makes me navigate towards to make this connection deeper and was that perception of uniqueness. And this is a lesson I will say for anyone that wants to start a business and wants to show up on social media. More than we show up authentic and we show up who we really are is in the way that we can create those, like you and I. Like for me, this has been an amazing connection because I can perceive exactly your definition of empathy, the trust and the
I love
connection.
that. Thank you.
So I think that you're just right there on point when helping your clients and with the perception that the world has from you and for you being the brand of your company is just like the 360. Is what something that I call is the DNA because we can perceive that DNA from the name Momentum Co to your post to talking to you and to hearing the results from your clients. What is the one piece of advice you wish someone had given you before you start your entrepreneurial journey?
So I wish someone had told me that progress is never linear. And actually, that's something that I'm thinking about it, like, every single day, even now. So as an entrepreneur, there are highs and lows, and it's so easy to doubt yourself during the challenging moments. But those moments are where the growth happens, actually. So
Mhm.
if I could give advice to someone starting out, I would be to trust the process. Sounds easy, but trust me, trust the process and give yourself permission to fail. I failed. I'm going to fail again. I failed yesterday. I'm going to fail next week. It is okay, actually. Every mistake is a lesson. And yeah, every setback is a chance to refine your vision.
Exactly. And what you say is so true. Like we wish that somebody have given us like this manual. And I know that many people is expecting jumping into this world to have all the answers. And it's impossible. because it's, as you say, is we learn as we go. And I feel that the people that haven't been successful is not because they don't have what they need to be successful.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's because they don't give it enough time.
Exactly.
And how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel you're so right about it. Like, I've been in situation before where I started project, I had like another business and I just gave up way earlier. And I learned that I would say lately for the past few years.
I love that you say that you fail. You say with that confidence, and that's amazing. And that's something that I always say the same about myself. I have failed so many times as well. And it's amazing and very refreshing to see and to hear that. Because in the
Sounds
only
so easy on Instagram, right? But it is not.
exactly. Exactly. Sounds so refreshing because outside what we see is the $10,000 month
Yeah.
and become this huge success in 90 days. All these kind of things. That
Yes.
is that will be great. And one of the things that I say is not that it's impossible, but the strategy is different. The amount of money that you have to spend is different. If you want to have that, you will have to get different resources that most of the people doesn't have when they start a business. But failing is part of the process, and like you say, we have to give it time. And I felt miserable when I started this journey at the beginning. I have
Mm.
launched things at the beginning that didn't work, but that's part of the learning process. And that's why we are here years later, because we give it time and you give a chance to yourself as well, because that's another different conversation. But we have to believe in ourselves, and it's easy when we don't have that momentum going to give up. I want to talk about a little bit about your lifestyle because it's so amazing that you have this nomad life. So one of the things is it's so inspiring to see that you had that opportunity, right? To bring that different cultures and different inspiration from the time that you have been traveling. What does that kind of freedom mean to you? And how can others can take steps toward that kind of life?
I really appreciate my life now. So for me, freedom is about choice, literally, like the ability to design a life that, aligns with your value. That's it. It's a choice. So walking across countries and culture, has given me like a deep appreciation for diversity and adaptability. So it's also showed me that freedom it's not about like having no responsibilities. It's like, it's about creating opportunities actually that align with what truly matters to you. So for anyone seeking that kind of life, I would say start by defining what freedom means to you. Not in general, not in 2024, not to your friends, like not to your mom that you want to impress, or just for you, like what freedom means to you. So is it flexibility, creativity, adventure, like whatever? Then you take small steps toward that vision. And yeah, it could mean starting a side hustle, or it can be learning a new skill or finding remote work opportunities. But freedom isn't achieved overnight. So yeah, it's built intentionally and one decision at a time. Give it a try.
It's so amazing. It's so amazing that you have that opportunity. But there are many things that you are talking about right now regarding that nomad life that many people see, again, going back to social media, scrolling the picture of the computer in front of this beautiful view and things like that. But you mentioned very great points here. So the first thing is like what freedom means to you. Because so many times I see that people get wrapped into the view and the wonderful to be working outside or in Italy or in another country or whatever it means for them. But like you say, that has to be is really what I want to, and digging into ourselves and having that aha moment from within that is not attached to your friends or your family or who you want to impress and what do you want the people to perceive. And like you say, it's about you and what you can learn and those responsibilities and opportunities, which I'm pretty sure that you encounter them in each country. But I also am pretty sure that it's not as easy as it is on
Yeah,
social media. If it's
100%.
not if it's not from within that desire that you, Lisa, has to go to have this life and to value that freedom and what freedom represents to you, probably you wouldn't go around the world to all these countries and keep doing what where you have the opportunity to do. And I love that you are here sharing your experience and talking about the real raw of the journey. So I really appreciate that. So for our last question, I would love to ask you, at what point do you stop fearing change and start using it as your greatest asset?
I believe you stop fearing change when you realize that it's the only constant in life, actually. The moment you embrace change as a tool for growth rather than a threat, to stability, it becomes your greatest asset. And that is mine. I know that. That's my strength since I'm, again, a little girl. So for me, that shift happened when I understood that every transition, no matter how challenging, held the potential to teach me something valuable. Like change is what shapes us. And when you lean into it, you're like more than opportunities, I would say, that you never imagined. It's more than opportunities. It can change your life.
Thank you so much. And how people can find you?
Well, they can find me on Instagram at the Momentum Call. I'm going to share my website slightly later. But yeah, if there's a need as well, I'm also on LinkedIn. My name is Lisa Raymonde, so you can find me. Just DM
Thank
me.
you so much. And I will add your contact information to the notes to this episode so people can go and get the opportunity to know what you do, to see the transformation that you offer, and to get to know you better, Scorpio girl.
Yes, exactly. So I would say if you're listening right now and you find yourself navigating a big life or career transition, whether it's stepping away from corporate or starting a business or moving through a deeply personal change, first I want you to know that you're not alone. And, at the Momentum Co, I guide women through this complex transition, helping them not only to manage the change, but transform it into the greatest opportunity. So here I am. It's me. Just DM me.
Hey, thank you so much, Lisa. Thanks for joining another episode of At What Point. I hope today's conversation sparks some inspiration for your journey of growth and transformation. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to visit katherinebeltran.com/podcast for show notes, special discounts on coaching packages, and freebies to help you keep moving forward. And last but not least, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a show. See you next time.